to empower her to succeed. I'm your co host, Shanea Johnson, and with us we have our host, Mrs. Kereisia Brown-Lyesam. She's the host and founder of Empower Her to Succeed. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all those who have joined us tonight. It's going to be an interesting topic that we're not interviewing, but we're going to be discussing the topic of motherhood, right? So we are aware that we are in the month of May and we just celebrated Mother's Day. And so tonight's topic, the power of motherhood. And that's what we'll be talking about tonight. You'll be getting insights. Yes, you'll be hearing stories of motherhood, as well as you'll be learning a few tips for those who are young mothers thinking about becoming mother, because it's there's no manual to this thing at all. Sometimes, based on what I've heard, you learn while going through the process. But we do have some mothers on tonight who will be sharing their experiences over the years. um, those who will be sharing a few insights that can assist us young women who are willing and ready to go into motherhood. Are we ready? Nah, not yet. Sometimes, can sound a bit tedious. But it's an exciting opportunity. It is an opportunity to become a mother. It is a blessing to become a mother. And we'll be looking at some of the women in the Bible who have gone through motherhood and what they've done and their role in motherhood. So, tonight we're going to be kickstarting our program, right, with lessons from mothers. Sorry, before we get to the lessons, I want to say that motherhood, it profoundly increases society in countless ways that often go unrecognized, right? And there are times when we don't pay much attention. Some of us don't pay much attention to the importance of what motherhood is and what it means to be a mother. But we're going to be jumping into a few ideas. But before we get into it, we want to discuss what is motherhood? What does it mean to you? Because for some people, it means nurturing their children, it means giving love, affection, it means different things to different people. But I'm going to be asking Kereisia, what does motherhood mean to her?
Hi, Shanea. How are you doing? Just a pleasure to share this stage with you. Um,
Awesome. How are
yes,
you?
I am fine. I'm happy, to be here and be able to share information about this topic. And since we have just celebrated Mother's
Yeah.
Day, and we are still in the season of celebrating Mother's Day. I'm so happy that we could have selected this topic to really talk about motherhood. Motherhood is so important. Many times we don't want to, talk about motherhood, the challenges that, mothers are going through, and or the challenges that they face. And
Yeah.
having motherhood in one sense helps to shape our culture, and I'm so happy that we can talk about this topic. And as for me, motherhood is really the relationship of nurturing. So when you talk about motherhood, it's really nurturing, guiding, and caring for a child. And we want to care for our children, through their developmental stage. So,
Definitely.
as a mother, it's very important that we understand how we nurture our children, how we guide them, and how we care for them, because we are the ones who are helping to shape our society. So that's what I would have to say about motherhood.
Awesome. And it's quite interesting, Kereisia, that you mentioned nurturing. It's a key aspect of being a mother. You know,
Yes,
the woman is always considered the nurturer, while the man is considered the provider, the protector, and so
yeah,
on. But what we have to also recognize and point out is that motherhood helps in terms of the development of the child's well-being, whether it's
yes,
spiritual. She gives that spiritual um development, emotional, intellectual development, and it helps to shape, as you rightfully said, shape the child for society. I mean, I've always heard that family is the foundation, it's the first agent of socialization.
yes,
And
yeah,
most times, it's the mother who
yeah,
helps, plays a critical role in the socialization aspect of the child's development. And sometimes when we hear people brag and boast about being a mother,
yes.
it's really a blessing, to
It's
be
a
a mother.
blessing. Comes with a
Their
lot of
time,
responsibilities.
it definitely comes with a lot of responsibility. And for those who have gone through the process already, you might have a relative who, like myself, who had a baby, and you've seen the process, seen it take
Yes, yes,
place, and so on. Because I don't have a child yet, but seeing it taking place, you being the mother, especially when you're dealing with your young baby, a newborn baby, you have to be the brain for the
yes,
baby.
yes,
You have to be the feeling, you have to be everything. So when the baby is hungry, you have to know when the baby is hungry, when to change the baby, or when the baby just want to play because they cry for everything at that stage. Probably if they're happy, they're crying. You don't know, but you have to be that thinker for the
yes,
baby. So it comes with great responsibility, and it comes with a lot of demand. It's a demanding job. It's the only job in this world that we women do, and we do it for free. No payment.
no
Yeah?
payment.
Can you
We don't get
imagine
a
that?
we don't get a paycheck for that.
No paycheck. I recall watching, there's this short video that's always circulating during Mother's Day week or the month of May. And in the video, it was an interview where the man the man was, describing the role of this position and asking the various women and men if they would
Yes,
take this job on. And everybody was like, no, that's crazy. How can you work for 24/7 without being paid? You have to, perform duties beyond work hours and so forth. But the way in which he painted it, you'd be like, that's crazy. Who does that? And at the end of the video, the person said that this position is filled by mothers. This is what mothers do.
yes, yes, yes,
And everybody, like, they were dumbfounded because they didn't think of it in that way, the way in which he put it. And when they heard of it, some of them were crying, and they were leaving messages to say how much they love their mothers, and to really show their appreciation for their mothers, grandmothers, godmothers, and so forth. And I was like, wow, this is
Yes.
so profound. It is not even funny how, how he put it in that manner, and then having to think and reflect on the importance of motherhood. It allowed me, for example, to have a deeper appreciation for my mothers. I have so many.
Yes.
Definitely.
So you have a mother
So
for the spiritual, a mother for the emotional, a mother for the physical, a
yes,
mother for the
yes,
intellectual. Do you have
yes.
the financial mother too?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. You have that mother, the financial mother. So motherhood, it's a commitment, as we
Yes,
said,
it is.
a commitment. It's not something that we say we're doing today, but we're not doing it tomorrow. You may feel like you don't want to do it tomorrow,
But you can't get any sick leave or any vacation leave.
right? But it is a commitment. And
Yes, it is.
when you're committed to the task of becoming a mother, daily, there are daily acts that we do perform. And I say we because I'm speaking it into being, right?
Yes, yes,
Where we have to provide comfort for those who are in distress, the children when they're going through distress, offering guidance, especially through challenging times. And
yes,
one of the most challenging time that a mother can offer guidance in a child's life, I strongly believe, especially when that child is in their teenage years. Because in the teenage years, the hormones are coming in.
yeah,
You want to do what you want to do, because I'm getting close to becoming an adolescent. I'm
yes,
getting there. And there are things you're learning about your bodies. You're learning about what you like or you don't like, the very clothes, your fashion, your sense of style changes. And that's one of the most challenging period in a child's life that you as the mother have to swallow sometimes, right? Swallow sometimes to deal with all of that change. It can become frustrating.
I'm going to share something with you after you finish. Go ahead.
Definitely, it can become frustrating, but it's a time in a child's life that you have to stand up and to, provide the guidance in a loving way, of course, but also hear your child, because at that stage, they want to be heard. That's the stage they want to be heard. They want you to value their opinion, right? And they want you to know that they have a voice.
Yes, yes.
But go ahead, Kereisia, with what you want to share.
You spoke about teenage years. I'm going to
Yes.
share an example of my own. I have my son, he's 6 years old. And I think that he's going through, I think it's the start of it,
Mm-hmm.
identity. And if I
Yes.
follow him, Shanea, he would change every clothes.
Mm-hmm.
As,
Yes.
as soon as he puts on one clothes, right? Then later on in the day, he needs another one.
Oh,
And he,
wow.
and he does not wear his shirt out of his pants, even if it is, those shirts, that he's
To
supposed to
go,
wear.
yeah.
Yeah. If not, he's not wearing it. It has to be tucked in. So
Oh, wow.
I said to myself, I said, this it's like a change, it's a transformation somewhat for
Mm-hmm.
me, as a young mother. And
Because
I'm like,
you
it's
never seen
identity,
that before, right?
right? It's identity and having to deal with my own. I see where there is a transformation at a tender age in terms of, you know, identity, and one day
Yeah.
I sat and I said to myself that he's going through his own transition in terms of his own identity. So I still have to allow him, you know. So what I do, I allow him to even choose his colors, put some of the shorts or pants on the out and say what would you like to wear? Because you still have
And
to give
that
them that sense of
sense of independency.
yes.
Yes.
And
Independence.
that was something new for me because I've had my smaller brother grown with me, and maybe because I was younger I was not able to identify that shift
Mm-hmm.
per se, but I am
Yes.
identifying the shift, and I'm recognizing that this young gentleman wants to change his clothes whenever if he says that he needs to change it. And when he's going out, even if I put out, something that I might like, he's like, I don't like it, I want to wear this. And I recognize that, I
Mm-hmm.
have to give him that sense of independence. Yes, I'm going to be
Yeah.
supervising him, but I still have to give him that sense of independence. So,
Definitely.
Miss, in our era, let's not wait until they're in their teenage years, because it's
Yes.
all starting from these children are so different from our time, they are
Definitely.
experiencing some things that we would have experienced in our teenage years, and I think that is
And
as a
in a
result of
different way.
exposure. Huh?
Yes. I was saying in a different way because, as you said, exposure culture,
Yes.
yes, has a big role to play in how they express and, manifest their independence in
That's
this
true.
day and age, right?
Yeah.
Um, so we're continuing, Kereisia, but I'm sure there are some complex, that's one of them, complex challenges in facing modern motherhood. Because I'm sure there's some things that you have to deal with now that you
Yes.
never dealt with before in your earlier years when you were growing up, comparing the method of motherhood then to modern time.
um In our modern era, a lot of women are really facing complex challenges,
Mm-hmm.
simply because I want to talk about the economic necessity. Sorry, in terms of um, I grew up in a home where my grandfather was the breadwinner, the main breadwinner, and they
Mm-hmm.
came from a different culture because, like,
Yeah.
my grandmother and other women her age group would have to, they were housewives, right? And even the passport, you would see their occupation is housewives,
Housewife. Yeah.
right? And if you're a housewife, it's a work. It's a lot of work, uh,
Yeah.
and it is needed, and it has its place if that's what you do only. And there are some families that they prefer that. So there are advantages and there are disadvantages. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So everything has its benefits. Everything has, effects.
Yes.
But when
Yes.
we look in our world today, Shani, um,
Yeah.
they always say that one hand cannot clap, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Yeah.
demand in terms of economic necessities, where you can't do without the internet. And
Yes.
like here in Jamaica, you have to pay as little as maybe $6,000, and that would have
Mm-hmm.
been about 50 US in 50 US dollars, right? About that.
A
Yes,
less than
a little
50.
less than, yes.
Yes.
You can't do without certain things. And the
Yes.
internet was one that I was making reference to. You have to have a plan on your phone while you're, traveling. And that's why Flo have the yard and road, you
Road,
know,
yeah.
road, what, yard and road.
Yeah, that road. Yeah,
Right.
man.
So that while you have internet at home, then you will have internet on your phone while you're traveling on the road. So internet
Yeah.
is something that is needed. People use it for various reasons, for research, for business, for pleasure, and so on, and also for communication with your WhatsApp. Because if you don't have WhatsApp these days, then So
Yes.
um, we are living in a society now that is demanding because of the needs, and you have to pay for these. It comes with a cost, right? A lot of
Yes.
homes, a lot of persons, entertainment is a thing for them. All right, they must be entertained, so they have the next Netflix and other things that are needed for entertainment. And so I'm saying all of
Yes.
that it comes with a cost. Not only that too, it's different. Food cost is different, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see you close down your eyes a while ago, Shani, because food
No,
cost.
man.
No, when I say close your eyes, I mean it's like you
No.
are agreeing because food cost, and for mothers and family in general. I remember I used to buy a tin of feeding for, the big tin of feeding for maybe $1,700. That's like 11 US dollars. No, it's
Yeah.
double the amount. All
Mm-hmm.
right.
Recently,
And
I heard that the
yeah.
small one is for $4,000 odd dollars.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's a small one.
Okay. So you have to
I'm
go
at
back to your
woo.
farming courage, though.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So women today, as I was talking about the expectation of a mother, right? That the mother has to be working. The mother have to work
Yes.
today, right? You
Mm-hmm.
can maybe talk to us a little bit about the work.
Okay. Yeah, man. So what I notice in today's society, in this modern society, right? One of the complex challenges is that society expects that women, mothers, sorry, because we're on the topic of motherhood, they expect that mothers should be working in this modern society. They are no longer staying home to necessarily care for the children for an extended period of time, because back then we had mothers as the caregivers, and this would mean that when mommy is pregnant, she's not working. First of all, back then the mothers aren't working at all, right? They're staying home, housewives as we'd call them, then the term we'd use, and they'd stay home, pregnant, have the kids. Once they have the kids, they're still home taking care of the kids, nurturing the
Yes,
kids,
that's true. Yes,
doing all the household work and all the responsibilities that comes with the babies. So it's diaper changing, it's feeding, it's putting them to sleep, being the doctor for them and nurses for them, finding the right methods to get them comfortable when they're getting fussy and all of that. So then they would have had the time, because that would be like the day job. But in this
that's true.
modern society, we see where women mothers are working. Yeah, working mothers, they're going out, whether it's in corporate or private sector, or an entrepreneur. they're working up to a certain time. We do know that for the private sector, they work up to a certain time and then they're off on maternity leave for 3 months, some people
Yes,
4 months,
yes,
right? And when they go off, that's the time they really get time to bond with this child that they're having. They really get the time to take care of them. But even still, things have so much changes have happened since then,
yes, yes,
because
yes.
even in this modern time, we now have nannies, being a part of the household, living nannies, being a part of the household to help to take care of the child or the children. And we do see where mothers are within 3 months, they're back to work.
When I
They're back
when
to work.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
when I transitioned from private sector and came into public sector when I
Mm-hmm.
found out that I was pregnant. So
Yes.
legally, you would not be able to get any maternity leave. But I gave God
Mm-hmm.
thanks because the timing was right. That I
Yes.
had my son in June, and then I would have gotten school holiday
July.
right in in July, August. So when it was September, I had to come back to work immediately.
Mm.
Right. So there are a
Yeah.
lot of that is one instance, a lot of women are facing um, societal pressure
Yes.
because they have to work. Some of them are leaders, and you just have to, you know, lead the company to fulfill its vision and mission. And whatever it takes, it doesn't matter how demanding it is, then, you still have to balance your work life with your family life to ensure that, you are able to achieve your key performance indicator in the
Mm.
job world. And it's not
Yes.
easy, especially when you are the head of a corporate organization. It's really not
Exactly.
easy. And so you have to
Exactly.
balance motherhood with your job. You have to also balance motherhood with even in your relationship, with your spouse. And if you
Mm-hmm.
are a working mom, you have to, still do your house chores. Some persons, will get somebody to come in, and that in itself has its own challenge, just because you still have to deal with ensuring that whatever this person is doing, then it suits you. They might not be able to do it as you can, but you still have to be
Yes.
honest. So it's still not easy. So when we talk about motherhood, and later on we're going to encourage new moms. When we talk about
Yeah.
motherhood today, society is also expecting certain things from a mother.
Mm-hmm.
um, my grandparents generation and my generation, it's different because my grandmother, being a housewife, she did other things too, and other women in those times, they were just in charge, manages the home. And sometimes, just to let our viewers know that we are not feminists, right? We we we
Yes.
we, we do believe some aspects, in terms of, if you work as a woman, you should be paid. But
Yes.
we are here to support women. So it's not that we are feminists. Not so Shanae,
Not
where
at all.
we try
Not
to
at all. We're
equalize
different.
ourselves totally with the men
Definitely.
because we are different. But at the same time, there are some things that are intertwined and we have to talk about it. So motherhood is very important, especially if you are working and society expects a lot. All right, as you
Yes.
rightly said, that women are caregivers and they're household managers, educational supporters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you that,
Oh yeah.
miss, our children get so much assignments at times. I'm telling you, it's not
Right?
easy. It is not easy, but and they are getting some projects, Shanea, that I used to do in grade six.
I was saying the same thing in my head just now. Like some of the work that they're getting, the assignments. I didn't get those things until later in
Yes,
primary school, early high school. And I'm like, wow, the curriculum has changed so much.
yes, yes, it has. And we have to understand that we are in a new era, and
Yes.
we can't think with the same heart that we used to, that we are used to, because
Yeah.
technology it's on its rise. Um, it's a part of learning institutions. We especially that we virtual experience, has been increasing. Then we
Mm-hmm.
recognize that our children are getting more exposure, to
Yes.
things that normally we would not get any exposure to. And we, in the future, we're going to have a session where we'll have professionals come in to talk about, uh, how it is beneficial to our students, and also the impact that the students, are encountering. But research has shown that despite these challenges that women are facing today, right, that women are still finding the time to spend with their
Mm-hmm.
children.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we want to observe that even though there are changes and women are working and women are taking on a lot of, you have some women, they do construction,
Yes.
I wonder how they manage it, and we lift our hats to them, because you just
Mm-hmm.
have to do what you have to do. You don't have to pay the bills. So while they
Yes.
are being mothers, some mothers find themselves as single parents, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
So
Not
we
easy
talk
at
about
all.
the right economic pressures, that they face. But at the end, we want to say that research, based on research, they have found that mothers, or they have reported that their involvement in their children's educational, emotional, and developmental needs, right, are balanced, and they are doing so more than ever. So that is a good
Yes.
finding, all right,
Definitely.
because they recognize that it is needed, even in terms of
Yeah.
education.
Mm-hmm.
Education is very important, and we want our children to be um, intelligent,
Success. Yes.
so and are able to function in society, because if children are not able to function, they are the next generation. If they are not able to function, and as we go on, we're going to talk about some of the challenges that we are facing in society, and how motherhood can help, to alleviate some of these issues that we are facing. So there are some other challenges that mothers are facing, like mental health challenges, because when you have to balance all of these, miss being a worker, being a
Yes.
caregiver and nurturer, you know it's not easy, especially if you're a single mom. And I know that
Yes.
a lot of you out there, you are facing challenges with regards to mental health. And I just want to say to persons out there, please do not call anybody mad. Gone are
Mm-hmm.
the days, just as though we would say, do not call any children dunce. Because really and
Yes.
truly, no children, is dunce. In Jamaica, we say the word dunce, but in English, um, who are not able to to
Absorb the knowledge as
right,
other
right,
persons.
right. It's just a method that is used, and so
Yeah.
children are going through a lot of things too. All
Yeah.
right. So for mothers, um, I know that you have something to talk about in terms of mental health.
Yeah.
Women,
Like,
go ahead. Yeah,
sorry, continue. Sorry,
I was
continue.
saying that let us not call anybody mad,
Not at
especially if
all.
they are still in charge of some of their faculties, because there
Mm.
are different um, situations or different what do we say now, the
The
counselors.
circle. Mhm.
Yes, there are some persons who are narcissists. There are some persons who are that they have, they are depressed, they are anxious, right? And they might operate out of the normal way. But it does not mean that every one of these diagnoses is called mad or insane, right?
Mhm.
So
But
I know that.
Carissa,
Go ahead. Yes.
Carissa, sorry, might I just add something before you
Yes.
continue? Right? Um, can we just, take a moment and really talk about postpartum depression? Because we don't necessarily talk much about it. We hear the
Yes.
term swirling around, but we don't necessarily talk much about postpartum depression. And it's
Yes.
real. It's a
It's really
state
not.
where, yes, it's a state where mothers, having given birth to their kids, their children, after a time, the anxiety, the pressure, wondering if they're, especially for first time mothers, I've heard first
Yes.
time mothers confess that they have gone into a state of depression where they're wondering if they're doing everything right. Is the baby going to be okay? Will the baby make it after 5 days old? And so on,
Fear.
because
Yes.
yes, and so many thoughts are rushing into their brains, and they're working, they're doing the action to ensure that they get it right, but because the thoughts are coming at them so much so, and if they're not so strong, or
Yes.
have
Or
that
get
support
support.
system,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
yes, if they don't have the support system too, it makes it even harder for them, and
That's
because of
true.
that they might just give in. I have seen where this person has had her baby. She wanted the baby. She had the baby. She ended up having twins,
Wow.
right? And having the twins and so on, doing the work and everything. But after a time, it took a toll on her. She
Yes.
didn't know, she started questioning her abilities. And with the babies crying and thinking that she's doing everything right, but they're still crying and it's getting a lot for her
Right.
and so on.
Yes. Yes.
She got depressed. She at one point she locked away herself because she was just, having so much noise, the noise in her head, if she which is her conscience, if she's doing everything right, and
Yes. Yes.
feeling guilty that the babies are crying, but they're supposed to cry. But
Right.
probably she's thinking that, hey, she's not doing something right and so on. And the person had to get help in order to go through the postpartum depression. And we
Yes.
do have people who do give birth to kids, to their children. It's an exciting moment, of course, but it can be an overwhelming one. And so we are calling, I'm going to use this opportunity to call on the partners, the men.
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
I
the
was
men,
thinking
the
the same.
husbands, the spouses, the community, because it's a village that it takes a village to raise a child. Calling on the support system to put in more support and to support the women who are going through, even if they might not look like they're going through depression,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
they might hide it well. But I'm encouraging and imploring the men to step up, be that
Right.
support system. Even if it's to say, okay, honey, don't do this today. You don't have to cook today. You have the baby
Support
today,
them.
you have to cook.
Yes.
Yeah, support them in any way. Even if it's the smallest way. The baby is down already to sleep. All right. It's your partner. You can actually say, all right, I'm going to give you a foot rub. You've been on your foot all day and all of that. That small gesture goes a long way. a
That's
long
true.
way, and they will appreciate it even when you forget about it. They will appreciate it, right? And so I want the men to challenge themselves and
Yes.
take up this.
Provide support.
Yes, provide support and take up the challenge to ensure that they're there for the women, whether it's your spouse, your cousin, um, people you know overall, just be there for them and give grace during this period, because it's
Yes.
indeed it can be a challenging time for women going through mental health challenges just because they don't have the support, or their support system is there but not there at the same time. So for those who have just joined, I'm going to we're here. I'm welcoming you guys. For those who have just joined, we're talking about motherhood tonight, right? And we're going through what motherhood is, some of the challenges that mothers do face in this modern society. And we're looking at the mental health challenges, and encouraging the men, the support
Yes.
systems to step up and be that strong support, that strong foundation for the women, because we often go through mental challenges, not madness or anything of the sort, but challenges in dealing with or anxiety, depression during motherhood.
Yes. Just to add to what you just say a while ago, that they might not experience it immediately after childbirth.
Yeah,
It can be
yeah,
delayed, right?
yes.
And then it has some form of impact on the child because it can delay their development,
Yes.
right? They might um, experience that delay that will affect them cognitively and socially. So sometimes, when persons have grown into adulthood and they have some issues with socialization, then we are not
Yes.
diagnosing that this is the cause, but it can be a reason. And so there are some persons it will affect them emotionally. It can also affect them behaviorally, where the children will have issues in terms of aggression, right? Some of them they bully others and so on, and they encounter anxiety, and they find a difficulty to socialize, to interact with others, and so
Yes.
these affect society because they grow up as an adult, and there was no help, there was no counseling, there was no treatment for it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we have to understand that these are real issues. And as you rightly says, the men, we're asking the men to support the woman. Some too, Shanea, will feel as though they want to commit suicide.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And it's because of the mental challenges that they're having. It
Yes,
doesn't
yes,
feel like life is worth living anymore. They have given up. Sometimes they have given up,
yes,
on the dream of being a mother, just because the thoughts may infiltrate the mind that they're not doing a good job.
yes, yes,
They're
yes,
not good at it. And the guilt comes in. Guilt comes into play, where they start blaming themselves. The simplest thing, the baby might just be fussing, and that can be the trigger. And
yes,
because of that, they become suicidal. And oftentimes, we've heard stories of women, mothers who have to be on suicide watch, or they're held in the hospital for a while before letting them out, and so on, just to get the proper treatment and care. because you don't want to have them released and not having the proper care that they need and the guidance they need to get over that state. And
Yes.
because of that, from time to time, I'm sure we've heard of news stories where it's the Jubilee Hospital that has this mother in custody, in their care for some time
Yes.
and
Yes.
so forth because they feel like they're going to go up by the roof and jump off, or they've attempted to do so
Yes.
before.
Yes. And they have
Because
to
there have been
restrain them.
stories, yes, where they have attempted and they have to restrain them and they have to get police officers to guard their rooms and so forth. But these are
Yeah.
realities. These are the realities that we definitely have to discuss. Sometimes it's the hard and harsh reality, but we have to allow our society to know what's happening. The young men, you know, who feels like, okay, I just want to be a father, but there are some things you have to consider. The young girls
Yes.
who think
Yes.
they're ready for motherhood,
Mm.
but not necessarily ready. These are some of the things that we have to talk about, the difficult topics, for you to understand what motherhood entails and to understand that it's not something willy nilly or an adventure you go on today and hop off tomorrow when you get tired. No.
But Shani, I never know say you can talk certain things. It's talk show tonight, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, I've lived through some experiences. I've babysat a lot.
Well,
I
you are the marriage Wednesday. What you call it? Relationship
relationship
Wednesday. So I
with
don't know why I'm thinking that certain things. It's so when I'm talking certain things, people will say, then you could really talk that,
yeah, man. I trust me. I have some experiences with kids. I love babies. I love them
You're going
so
to
much.
so how much you're gonna have? You're gonna have five.
No, 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 no. That's too much. Too much.
With all of these economic situations, we really have to plan,
Right?
properly.
Yeah. That's
Just to let you know that in the house we have Kerry-Ann, that's Reverend Kerry-Ann. We're going to add her, to participate in the discussion tonight. I see her smiling away. Hi, Reverend Kerry-Ann. Thank you for joining tonight in this discussion. We're talking about a topic. You're still muted. We're talking about a topic that needs to, be spoken about because sometimes we put it under the carpet, and a lot of persons out there are um, having these challenges. And they don't know how to deal with the challenges. And so we are so happy that Empower Her to Succeed we have decided that we want to talk about these challenges, that are affecting
Right.
women. And back to what we were saying, thank you for having you. We're grateful to have you on the show tonight to
Thanks for
participate in
having
the
me. Good
discussion.
to see
welcome,
you again,
welcome,
Shania.
welcome.
You were
It's
missed. You
good
were
to see
missed.
you.
The last
Yes.
time you were missed.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's good
I'll be
to
back.
see you. Welcome.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much.
So
No
um
problem.
so we were talking about the challenge of, you can go ahead, Shanae.
Yes, the mental health issues and challenges that mothers do face. We're just talking about some mothers become suicidal, which is sometimes a symptom of postpartum depression.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily show immediately after giving birth, but yeah, that's what we're talking about now, and calling on the men, the support systems to actually step up and to be there for our women who are going through motherhood, because it's never a bed of roses.
No.
And we're also encouraging young girls and young boys who are thinking of becoming fathers to rethink if they are ready,
So true.
because it's really something to think about. It's
Yes, it
something
is.
to process. And I believe that we have to be ready mentally. We
Yes,
have to
yes,
be, even if we look like we're ready physically,
Yes.
we have to be ready mentally, because it's not an adventure, as I mentioned earlier. It's not an adventure we go on today and tomorrow we're tired, we hop off the train. It's not that type of
Not at
some
all.
adventure.
Not
people,
at all.
some
And
people
we
don't
have
get.
to be ready financially
Yes,
Yes, yes,
and spiritually. Spiritually,
yes,
believe you me, it's very serious because especially for the spiritual part, if you are not careful, the generational curses that follow your bloodline, you that end up following your child, and you don't want that. So you have to be
definitely.
ready. Yes, you have to
yes.
be
Yes,
ready.
definitely.
Very important.
Definitely.
Another aspect of it is that sometimes women get pregnant, but they are already in a situation that caused them to be depressed even before they became pregnant, and so this
Right.
can cause that too. We were talking about mental health, and that affect wo- women where they feel as though they are burnt out.
Yes.
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 Mm-hmm.
And so I felt burnt out already, especially when I was transitioning from my job. I was, at the corporate level, and I felt like, I just could not go. I mean, and it's not a matter of feeling like I was, dying, but it was a matter of, I didn't have that willpower to even do things that I like to do.
Hmm.
And if you find yourself in that state and you're pregnant, I'm telling you, it's not a good place to be at. All right. And so it will affect. So we have to know these things. So we go
But I
ahead.
have a question though, Kereisia, for you both, you and Kerry, right? Have you ever felt that you're not ready? Or while you were pregnant, did you question yourselves if you were ready for this? What
All
was it
right.
like mentally, in your mental state during that time?
You want to go ahead, Carrie, or
Okay. Okay. Thank
go ahead?
you. To be honest, I thought I was ready. I thought I was ready
Okay.
for this. And when the reality hits, believe me, it hits hard. I remember my daughter, because of her father's job, most of the time he was not at home. So it would be just the two of us. And she was just crying, 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 crying. Everything I did, she wouldn't stop. And I just put her on the bed. I went outside and started crying too.
Yes.
The neighbor came over and she took the baby for the day.
Oh Lord.
It's I didn't know what else to do. I started crying too. And
Yeah.
to be honest, my daughter is 18, and to be honest, I still don't feel ready because she is transitioning into adulthood.
Yes.
So in motherhood there are phases. For the first phase, I thought I was ready. But as time goes by, I
Mm-hmm.
realize I am not ready. And even though she's 18, I don't think I'm ready for this stage. I feel like I'm still playing catch up. I feel like I'm walking on eggshell because you want to do it right. And the mistakes my mother made with me, I don't want to do it. So I feel like I'm walking on eggshells with my daughter. I
I
don't
can
feel like I'm
imagine.
ready. I feel like I am playing catch up. And then now the mistakes that I made, I have to be so careful because I don't want her to make those
It's-
mistakes as well.
yeah.
So every day I pray and I ask God, help me do this and do it right. I do.
Well, thank you so much. Kereisia, you can go ahead.
We're not hearing her.
You want
We're
to repeat
missing.
that question because I want to make sure that I answer it.
So during yes, no problem. So during your
Stuff.
stage of pregnancy, or if it's that you just had your baby, did you think you were ready? Were you, your mental state, was it that you thought you were ready for motherhood?
I think I was ready for motherhood, but before I can talk about the ready for motherhood, I remember, when I was a when I was a youngster, somewhat, I spoke with, I'm coming. I spoke with, I have to think more about the question, all right?
Mhm. Yes, no problem. No problem at all. I totally understand that bit, right? So I think based on what I've seen so far, I'm just going to elaborate a little on what I've seen so far. I know of someone who she was close at the time. We got closer after birth and so on. And one of the things I realized, right, that for her being ready, she sometimes, things do happen and you're pregnant and you end up getting pregnant and so on, even though you didn't plan yet for it and so forth. But what I noticed is that mentally, she's strong mentally,
Okay.
but even though she's strong, Carrie, mentally, she had to process everything. Like, she had to really take it all in to say, I'm now a mother, even though she was a young adult at the time. But she had to process it that she's a mother and she has to now put herself, put herself behind and put this baby in
Yes,
front, and to
definitely.
take hold, take charge of becoming the mother that she knew she can be, and
Yeah.
she wanted the best for her child. I remember the first time I got to hold the baby, and when I got to hold the baby,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my gosh, me, remember, it's not my baby, and I was like, oh my gosh, this baby's so tiny, how do you manage to hold her? I'm
Yes.
there thinking, wonder if she will break. Hello.
I had that experience.
Wonder if I'm holding her correctly. And guess what, that morning
Yes.
I had to give her a bath, Kerry, and she was so tiny, and she's in the water and she's trying to get up. I'm like, you're just couple days old, get up, go where. It was so crazy. It was so crazy, Carrie. And for me, I was like, I'm not the mother, and I can imagine her, my little friend, having to go through all of this every
Wow.
day. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I had that same experience when my daughter was born. I was so
Yeah.
scared. I did not give her the first bath. My sister did. I
Yes.
was so
Yeah.
scared. I thought she was going
Yeah.
to drown. I thought she was going to
Yes.
fall out of my hand. And so I allowed my sister to do it. So it's a very rewarding but nerve wracking experience
Mm-hmm.
emotionally. And In
Yeah.
every way, it is. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, I can imagine, right? And I was just like, oh my gosh. I can imagine how my friend has to go through this every day and wondering if she's going to break the baby or something, because and the baby,
Definitely.
she was so busybody. That's the next thing. She wanted to do everything.
Oh,
And
yes.
she's not yet at that stage. I was like,
She's just excited to
stay
be in
in
the
the
world.
bath. Stay in the bath. I need to bathe you quickly and take you out.
So, and
It
not
was
prophesying.
crazy.
So when you have the twin, what's gonna happen?
I can't manage it. There's a story behind that, There's a story behind that.
And 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 let me tell you, community is so important. Community is
Yes,
Yes.
very important when you have a child,
Yes.
because you're going to need that support so that you
Mm-hmm.
don't get burnt out, you don't get frustrated. You're gonna need
Mm-hmm.
a break sometimes, a second hand or two
Definitely.
will be here for you.
Definitely.
yes,
Because
that's
I
true.
can tell you, when I used to stop by and stuff, she was like, she's right here. Take her. She's right here.
Yes,
Not that she don't
yes.
enjoy, but she wanted a little
She need that
time
break.
for
She
her.
need that break.
It makes
Yes.
you tired, you
Yes.
know.
Yes, I can
Yes.
Yeah.
imagine. Go ahead,
Back
Kereisia.
to this the question that you had asked. I was saying that
Yes.
when I was younger, I remember, you know, having a conversation with my youth director, and I spoke with her, and I was like, "How comes I don't feel like I want to have any children yet?" You know, in my head, yeah, I thought
Yeah.
of having three children. I end up
Mm-hmm.
having one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she says to me, she says, "When your body is ready, then your mind will be ready." And I can
Okay.
say, yes, I can. And she had three children,
Wow.
and I'm so grateful, for that, because when my body was ready, my mind was ready, right? The only
Oh,
thing is that I was transitioning from one job to the other,
to
a
the
more
other.
tedious job,
Right. Wow.
and so I don't think it's just because of inexperience that I didn't realize or know that I was pregnant. I would just find
Oh.
myself asking the students, especially some students in the bachelor's program, were like similar age, so every time I would send them to Juicy Beef, that is for those who are overseas, that is it's a restaurant here in Jamaica noted for patties. And I would, every morning, I would drive past Juicy Beef, and I would, go to school. And is when I am there talking with them, I said, "Come, I need one of you to go to Juicy Beef to buy." So
Mm-hmm.
I just drove past Juicy Beef, but
Yeah.
I recognized that it was a trend, right?
Oh.
Once you are there talking, because they always, find it as fun to
Mm-hmm.
really talk with me, and
Yes.
so on. I always motivate them. So every time before my class, we would have a little chit chat, and it was that time I found out that I'm asking one of them, "Can you go to Juicy Beef and buy something for me?" And they said, "Miss, watch yourself." I
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
there because we were like, same age group. But I was transitioning from, a more tedious job. Because I was like a
Yeah.
little middle manager there. I was in charge
Mm-hmm.
of a lot of, my process caused me to be in charge of all the workers in my process of training, in that area.
Okay. So
Tedious.
probably you're occupied mentally, with
Yes.
everything else. You didn't even realize.
Didn't realize because I'm now in another job that is more flexible. So I didn't
Yes.
realize. Yes.
Yes.
And so I believe that my body was ready and my mind was ready. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome stuff. So
Yes.
we're moving on, Kereisia, to The next question I have, right? How can mothers shape our cultural values and traditions? How can mothers, or what role do they play in shaping our cultural values and traditions?
Even
You
before
want to
we
say?
really answer that question, I think we need to talk about some of the challenges that we're facing in society as a result of our children not being nurtured properly. And so some of them become nuisance in society, find themselves into criminal activities. And sometimes as mothers, they back their children. And as a result of that, they feel as though what they are doing from a tender age is okay. And so they grow with that mentality that, my mom will always be there for me. And so it's very important that as mothers, we nurture our children properly so
Yeah,
that they must know what is right from wrong, right?
definitely.
Sometimes it's not easy, especially, when you find yourself working, and we spoke about economical factor where women have to find themselves working and supporting their spouse, and sometimes we maybe play a blind eye to some things, but we have to ensure that our eyes are open. So if the child brings home something from school, just like Joshua brings home something from school, like a pencil, he's going to bring it back,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
Right.
and you might look at that as something that is small, but a child can be, represented like a tree. They are going to grow, and in
yeah.
growing per se, you don't want them to feel as though this activity is okay,
Mm-hmm.
right? I remember
Yeah,
my child brought home a different snack, from the one that I sent him to school with. And I asked him some questions. I said,
yes.
why is this snack in your bag? Where you got it from? And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
just, listen to what he said. I contacted the teacher to find out, and she
Yeah.
expressed to me, what really happened. So if we don't, as mothers, ensure that we, from the child is that from the child is young, make sure that we train them. That's what the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go. And even at
Yes.
heart. So from the root stage, we need to identify activities that they are doing and let them know when it is right from when it is wrong. If we don't instill
Mm-hmm.
that, let me tell you something. You see, my grandmother
Mhm.
and my grandfather, me know what is, I'm sorry, I know we are Jamaican, but to the world, I know what is right from what, was wrong. Because they are letting
Yes.
me know that, listen, when big adults are talking, you should not talk. You should be quiet, right?
Yes.
And they will let you know that you need to satisfy with whatever you have. And so these things were instilled, in me as a person. And I just want to say to us as mothers out there, please, every activity, monitor your children. Let them know what is
Yes.
right from wrong. Because if they are not taught what is right from wrong when they become a child, then they can become a nuisance to society. All
Yes.
right?
Yes. I
Also,
totally agree. Go ahead,
also,
Kerry.
also, you. It's very important that you know their friends. It's very
Yes.
important that
Very
you
important.
know their friends. I can tell you that from
Um,
from experience.
Sorry to evil. I want to just say this to you while you're going to explain. And also let us talk about friends online. So go ahead. Because some
Right.
of them they have friends online, with some of these games. So we can go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for me, I have adopted that over the years with my daughter. I know her friends, and with the spirit of discernment, I'm able to say to my daughter, be careful of this one. I'm not in the habit of telling her not to who to keep as friend. I just give her advice that she needs, and
Mm-hmm.
she have
Mm-hmm.
to be able to make that conscious decision, to make that choice. And as
Mm-hmm.
a praying woman, believe you me, I had to pray some friends out of my daughter's life, literally.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
had to pray them out, literally. Because I don't want to be a autocratic parent. I don't want to be that. I want her to be able to make decisions for herself, to think for herself,
That's
to
true.
develop that
Yes.
herself. And so I would say to her, I don't like this one. And I watch, advise her and watch to see what she's going to do about it. And I also pray about it that God will give her the wisdom. And the long and short of it, she probably months or weeks after she would come back and she say, Mommy, so and so is not my friend anymore. So and so is not talking to me. And I'm looking at, I'm saying, wow, prayer works. Prayer works. So a lot of
Yeah.
parents are using so much force, and
Mhm.
you so much force with the children, and sometimes you just need to give them advice, and then you go into that closet and you pray, you don't bash them, you don't bash them and try to control them, but help them develop that attitude, right, of making conscious and sound positive decisions for
Mhm.
myself. You want them to be adults who can think quickly and accurately. And so you have to
Yes.
give them that space that they need, while guiding them. And she would come back and would say, Mommy, so and so is not my friend anymore. And I'm like, wow, look at God. I just give her the advice that she
Mhm.
needs, and then I'm on the other side praying. And so my daughter, she take it for a joke. Whenever she get a new friend, she comes, she say, Mommy, you go pro that one here too.
Yeah.
She come and she asks me, what do you think about this person? What do you see? Because I play that active role in her life,
Mhm.
because and I've seen God move the wrong people out of her life and bring in the right people that
Yes.
will propel her to become her best
Yes.
self, to become that
Or
person that
the best
God
version of
wants
herself.
her to be. And so we need to be more intentional where their friends are concerned, and be more intentional in prayer, because a lot of times you parents, so you just talk and you quarrel, and you develop this atmosphere of negativity in your house. No, there's nothing that prayer cannot solve. I've seen it work with my daughter.
Yes.
Thanks be to God.
I
That's
totally
true.
agree with you. I agree with you, Kerry. And one of the last things I want to say on that point too is in how mothers can shape cultural values is instilling some of the traditions, the cultures and traditions, especially as you're on prayer, especially teaching your children how to pray from their
Yeah.
young. You
Yes.
know, I don't know if there are parents still doing that, but I'm going to use the opportunity to call on the mothers, call on the parents, both mothers and fathers, grandparents, whoever you are, the guardian that you are to the children,
Yeah.
right? We're also in Child's Month, to call on you to go back to the roots
Yes,
where
yes.
we teach our children how to kneel down at the bedside before you go to bed and pray. Yes. And I don't know for anybody else, but for me as a child, I remember every night I would have to go down on my knee and when like from I can talk, from I was able to talk. Mommy taught us how to pray. You know, there was gentle Jesus, meek and mild, and
Yeah.
so on. We don't hear those prayers anymore. We don't hear those prayers anymore. But I'm calling on the parents, on the mothers, to bring back the tradition.
Yes.
Because for me, even at home, I used to go down on my knees and pray. But when I was in basic school, when teacher said it's prayer time, I knew already how to become reverend.
But one
I
thing,
knew when
Yes.
to stop.
yes,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. One thing though too,
Yeah, man.
with all of what you're saying, it allows them to be disciplined.
It does.
Discipline.
Yes.
Yes. And respectful. Because guess what? If you're not doing the right thing and you don't respect God, you're in a trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
you know? So just
Yes.
having that up here, and what I've realized, this carried me throughout my entire life up to today.
Yes, it
Up
does.
to today. Even if I'm eating a candy, I bless the candy before I eat it.
Ah, yes.
Bless the sweetie before I eat it. And no matter where I'm at, I could have be at a hotel or I could have be at a state dinner. It doesn't matter where I'm at. I'm going to bless the food
That's
and
right. That's
eat it.
right.
So that's still ingrained in me. And if I'm going to church and I hear the pastor or whoever praying, I know that I need to stop and bow my head and pray, right? And these are some of the things, the traditions,
Yes.
the traditions that were passed on from a tender age. And so, because of that, I believe it has shaped my life differently. I can
Mm-hmm.
attest to it shaping my life differently
Mm-hmm.
and being a more spiritually grounded person and being
Yes.
disciplined, as you rightfully said, being disciplined and respectful and holding morals and ethics to a high standard.
Right.
So these things are not just, we're not just talking for those who are online. We're not just saying them because we can roll them off our lips, but we're saying them because we have either experienced these things or we have seen it for Kerry and Kereisia. They have seen it in their
Yes.
children, what it means to embed these cultural values and beliefs, in their kids, and they're seeing it display before their eyes. So we are living the
That's true.
testimonies and seeing the
Yes.
testimonies,
So
Yes.
true.
right?
So true.
Yes,
So true.
definitely.
Just to add to
And
what you
and
were saying. Go ahead. Go
yes.
ahead. Go
And
ahead. Go ahead.
yes. Just to add, um, I really want to encourage mothers out there. And my daughter is not perfect, and I am not perfect. But just to
Yeah.
show you how tradition can shape your child's life.
Yes.
My daughter, she grew up seeing me going on fasting, and she's now 18. And so when she was younger, I would put her on fasting. Now that she's 18, I kind of back off a bit to see how she's going to move forward. And I was surprised to see my daughter taking the initiative to go on fasting by herself without me telling her. I was,
Yes.
was really shocked at 18. I was shocked. I was shocked. And she said to me recently, she said, Mommy, why you grow me so good? There are a lot of things as a teenager that I want to do and I just can't do them.
Yeah. Yeah.
so so
Yeah.
um so not only to teach them, but you have to live. You have
Live.
to live that
That's
life.
it.
And everybody's circumstances are different. But
Yeah.
as I said before, you have to be intentional because you alone
Yeah.
as a parent cannot do it. It takes a community
No.
to raise a child, and I make it my point of duty to pray that God will surround my child with the right people. You have to do that because you alone cannot do it. And if you alone um, is releasing that positivity into your child and you have negative persons around, it's going to affect her. It's going to affect he or she. So you have to pray. You have to be intentional about everything. Leave nothing to chance. Leave no room for the devil to come into your marriage,
Yes.
into your family,
Yes.
into your life, into your children. Leave no room. I pray about everything. Sometimes I wonder if God laugh after me. Sometimes I leave nothing up to chance, and so I pray for the right community for my daughter to be in, to grow up in. And so my friends,
That's it.
the friends that I keep, they influence her to be a better person. I pray for anywhere I'm relocating. I pray before I move into that community. I say, God, put the right neighbors, the right this, the right that, the right everything. That's how I look at life. I am. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be intentional about everything. Leave no
Everything.
room for the devil.
Nothing to chance.
Leave
Yes.
nothing to
Yes.
chance. And so we have to
And
take that
there's
approach towards our children as
definitely,
mothers and towards every area of our lives. Thank you.
Yes, I
definitely.
know that time is going, but thank you. There's two other aspects we maybe need to talk about in terms of tradition. And you would have spoken of one in terms of community. Like in when I was younger, then my neighbor could say, Kereisia, Kereisia, behave yourself. Other persons were able to, speak to your child when they were doing something wrong. And the other aspect, even though we don't have enough time, is that of the tradition of work, teaching our children to work. As a lot of our children, or some of our children, they are now growing into a culture where some of them they don't want to work, and so it affects us in the society because of the activities that they are finding themselves in.
Yes, so
Right,
true.
so it's very
Mm.
important that parents, I when I, my from a baby, my child, is growing up. um if he throws out all the pampers out of the box, he's going to put them back in there. you
Yeah.
know
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
Now I give my son little activities to do, like
Right.
sweeping and so on. And
Chores.
I'm also
Yeah.
learning because sometimes when you grow with your grandparents, and they tend to want to do everything for the child. And I've also learned,
Mhm.
being an adult, that sometimes we are crippling our children.
Yes.
When we, especially for me, when I was growing, my grandmother would say, come and wash the dishes. And I say, I'm coming. And by the time I say I'm coming 2 times to 3 times, and if we're talking about the reality, by the time I go into the kitchen, the dishes were washed. And I use it as a weapon
Mhm.
against her, because I know that once I say I'm coming 2 or 3 times, the dishes will be
Yeah. Yeah.
washed, right? So, and we're talking about reality here. So,
Yes.
I have grown and understand that, some of the things that we are doing for our children, we are actually crippling them.
Oh,
We're
yes.
not
Mhm.
allowing them to be independent and to learn to be responsible. So we need our children
True.
to learn to be responsible, learn to work, because I
Right.
think that our children not learning to work and be responsible is plaguing our society. And we would have seen some of those instances in the news, and we can't keep a blind eye to it because it is there. So we are
Right.
um, saying to all the mothers out there, please ensure that you I know sometimes, especially if you're a single mother, you don't have the time for your children. And when you talk about the barrel baby, I know that because of economic
Mhm.
factors, sometimes parents make the decision to migrate. We can't
Yes.
tell what to do, but we would have seen how disadvantageous, that is for some children. That yes, it is good to give them the shoes and the clothes and send the burial and so on, but the emotional connection that is needed, it's not there. And so when they don't have that emotional connection, then it affects them. They seek,
Yes.
connection from other sources that are not beneficial for them. And these are real things. Sometimes, as I said, we try to put them under the carpet, but we have to talk about them. Because we hear it on the news. Every day we hear it on the news. And these are
Yes.
things that causes some of our children who have grown into adults to be who they are, to be locked in the jail, to be participating in rape activities, participating in scamming, participating in a lot of things that are not lawfully correct. And so, as mothers, we have a responsibility in the society to ensure that the traditions are maintained and that our children are grown properly. Else, we're going to have a generation that is going to come and gun us down. We're going to have a generation that is going to
Mhm.
come and steal from us. We're going to have a generation that is doing all manner of things,
So
right?
true.
And even as a church, we have the responsibility also to participate in societal development. Sometimes we shy away from this, but we need to participate in discussions. We need to be out there in schools, right? Because it's not
Yes.
easy in the classroom. It's not
Not at
easy.
all.
And,
It's
and,
not.
and we are saying that we need the government to do this and the ministry to do this, but it comes from the home. And so, as women who are
Yes.
mothers, we need to be responsible enough to ensure that our children are grown the right way. And if we need support, get the support. So if you need the support, get the support. Our society is facing a network of crisis, and we don't know how to untwine it so that it can be smooth. But we have to pray and ask the Lord to help us. And not just pray because the Bible says faith without work is dead. So whatever you
Works is
can do,
dead.
right? Whatever you can do, like what we are doing now, all right? Because we are not just mothers for our own children.
Not at
We
all.
should also be mothers for other children. Once we are given the opportunity, because there are some mothers that don't want you to talk to their children, right? Even
Yeah.
when they're going down a wrong road. So we need that element of community that if somebody who you trust per se, you want to give them the you want to give them the right to be able to talk to your children. Some of them don't even want teachers to talk to their children, right?
So true.
Mhm. That is so true. That is
Definitely.
so true, Carissa. You have
Yeah.
anything else you want to add, Carissa?
Well, I was just so passionate a while ago, because as a teacher myself, um, we see all evidence in the classroom, what is happening out there. And it's time for us to arise and do what we can do in whatever corner. You know, we need to participate in a change, be a change agent in our society. We cannot allow our generation to be like this. There are so many negative impacts to our generation simply because our children were not grown properly. And this is not a government situation. This is our home situation. So let
Oh,
us
Yes.
not cover
exactly.
our eyes and feel as though or try to hide it because our society needs help.
So true.
Definitely. I totally agree with you. Thank you so much, Carissa, for that. And with
One
that
other thing,
said,
Shanae, I am so passionate, and I know persons are hearing, because we have young men and young women who are very talented and who can, help to build, our society in a more positive way, and they are dying,
Yes.
right? They are being locked behind jails. We don't need any bigger jails,
No, not
right?
at all.
We need proper programs
nope.
and systems that will
Hmm.
help our generation. It's not easy, but collectively we can do it together. We need to become
Yes.
activists of change so that we can have a better generation. A better generation mean a better future and a happier nation.
Yes,
So true.
definitely. Totally agree.
It's so true.
So, to wrap things up, right, Kerry, I'm going to be asking you first to, I'm going to be asking you what advice would you want to give to the mothers who are out there as we look on the topic tonight, right? As we look on the topic tonight about motherhood, the power of motherhood, what advice would you give mothers about embracing the power that they possess, especially during challenging times?
Okay. First and foremost, as a mother, you have to know who you are. You have to first find yourself, because when you find yourself and know who you are and your purpose, then it gives you that confidence to focus on your child or children. When you know who you are, then it becomes easier for you to be patient with your child. It's easy. Becoming patient with them becomes easy, because what I've come to realize is that a lot of times when you see the parents who are abusing their children, a lot of times it is out of frustration, and you are frustrated because of your economic situation. You are frustrated because you don't know who you are or where you're going, and sometimes you you have resentment, unforgiveness for yourself, and because of your past mistakes. Sometimes you miss opportunities, and because of all of these baggage that you are carrying, it becomes hard for you to give your child that love and that guidance they deserve. And so I encourage parents to ask for help. Ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You cannot do it by yourself. I encourage parents to you sometimes you have to unlearn some things, unlearn some there are some traditions. Let me tell you, we are living in a different generation, very different generation. And some of the customs and traditions that our parents use to bring us up, it's not going to work with this generation. And so to handle the challenges of motherhood, you have to unlearn some of those traditions and customs and relearn. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Read books, research, ask questions, reach out to organizations for help. Be in the know. Their help today, help is at your fingertip. There's no reason for you to be having the challenges that you are facing and be ignorant. Knowledge is at your fingertip. Ask for help. Ask for help. Yes. Reach out to somebody, not just anybody, but find a parent that that you think a positive parent and ask them questions. How do you do this? Form a community. Mothers, form a community with neighbors, with other parents from your school. Ask questions. How do you do this? When my child when your child do this, how do you handle it? Ask other parents how they handle situations. Find parents who have successful children who have graduated from college, graduated out of their physical care and are on their own. Ask them, how do you do this? How do I handle this? There's no reason for you to handle it alone. And for those parents out there, you're trying everything with your child or children. Everything. And that child is just wayward and that child still remains rebellious. I just want to encourage you, don't give up. Don't give up. Don't never give up on your child, no matter how rude that child is. Never give up on your children. No matter how the situation look like it's getting worse. It's not changing. Continue to show them love. The Bible said love covers a multitude of sin. Love your child. Give them lots of love, lots of discipline. Yeah, lots of discipline, lots of love, lots of praise. Motivate them, encourage them. Sometimes they do the 99% of negativity, but that 1% of positivity that that child do, praise them for it. Make a big deal out of it. Make a big deal. Yes, out of it. Take it from somebody who who is a mother, and I have decided to unlearn a lot of things. Was it easy? No, it's not easy. I had to unlearn a lot of stuff, and it was uncomfortable. And I had to relearn, and I see the fruit. I see the fruit. And I encourage mothers, don't just be a mother to your child. Adopt a child. Adopt a child and be there for that person. Be there for another child. It doesn't have to be in any major way. Be there for another child, because you might think your situation has hit rock bottom, but there's another family, another child out there who is worse off than you and your child. And maybe you're just that person to give them that spark of hope. You're that spark that they need to reignite. So this topic is so wide. It's so deep, and we time is against us, and we can't really get down into it as how we want to. But the little we are pouring out to you tonight, just soak it in, run with it. Don't take it for granted what we are saying tonight. We have tried it, proven it, tested it, and it worked. Yeah, it worked. God bless you tonight.
Awesome. God bless you too, Kerry. That was lovely. Thank you so much for that encouraging word. And as we wrap up our show tonight, I just want to encourage you guys to take a nugget from what we've shared. And I'm sure if you haven't gotten the chance to watch all the video, you can always rewatch because it will be on our social media pages, and you'll have the opportunity to rewatch in the week. So I want to say thank you for joining, Kerry. We appreciate always chatting with you, of course, and with Kereisia, our host and founder of Empower Her to Succeed. Thank you so much for joining tonight and making tonight a possibility. And for those who are online, for the mothers, remember you are a super woman and you
Yes, you
can do
are.
this.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can do this.
Yes, you
And
can.
for the men in your lives, man, wanna stand up to the plate. Yeah, man, come up a
Yeah,
little higher. And support the woman them. Yes.
yeah.
But thank you all for joining our program tonight. We appreciate the love and support always. We're here every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. for Empower Her to Succeed. I'm your co-host, Shanea Johnson, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the night.
She's rising up, heart full of grace. With every step, she's paving the way. Through every storm, she finds a light. With faith in her soul, she's ready to fight. From the pain, she finds a power, turning trials into golden hours. Challenges don't stand a chance. She's on a mission, taking a stand. Empower her to succeed. Fuel her fire, plant the seed. Let her overcome, let her lead. She's the potential the world needs. With love, with faith, with every breath she takes. A transformative story is what we make. This is her life, this is her creed. Empower her to succeed. Not just a dreamer, she's a doer too. Breaking ceilings, breaking through. With every voice that lifts her name. Together we rise, we shift again. She's more than enough. She's made to rise above. When the world says no, she answers with love. Empower her to succeed. Fuel her fire, plant the seed. Let her overcome, let her lead. She's the potential the world needs. With love, with faith, with every breath she takes. A transformative story is what we make. Well, this is her life, this is her creed. Empower her to succeed. With Kereisia and Shanea, hear her rise. This is where challenges meet purpose and dreams touch the skies. Empower her to succeed. Empower her to succeed. Fuel her fire, plant the seed. Let her overcome, let her lead. She's the potential the world needs. With love, with faith, with every breath she takes. A transforming story is what we make. And this is her life, this is her creed. Empower her to succeed.
Okay, you'll just close out Shanae with prayer and
Okay, no problem. So, Holy Father God, we thank you for tonight. We thank you for your grace, your mercy. Who can be compared to you, Lord? No one can. No one ever will, Jesus. We thank you for this beautiful topic tonight, the power of motherhood, O Lord. You've given us women the ability to bring forth children. And Lord, it is a blessing for us, O Lord. And so, as you entrust the little ones to us, O Lord, help us to see it as a blessing and to nourish and nurture the children in the way that they should grow, Lord, holding integrity and ethics at the highest level, depending on you always, O Lord, for guidance as well. And I pray, mighty God, that you'll strengthen the mothers who are on this platform tonight. Mighty God, strengthen our host and our guests tonight, Jesus, so that mighty God, in their capacities as mothers, they'll continue to be the beautiful souls that they are for their children, and that their children are blessed. They're covered by your blood. For those who are hearing my voice, Jesus, on this platform, I pray that you may bless them. Bless bless the mothers, bless their children. Allow them, mighty God, to go back to the roots of bringing their kids to you, O Lord. Praying again, Lord, seeking you for guidance always. I pray, Holy Spirit, that this movement will grow from strength to strength, empowering women, not just locally, but internationally, globally, oh Lord, and that mighty God, they'll see your good works in us and glorify you always. Have your own way with us. We tell you thanks for this beautiful session tonight. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen, amen, amen.
Amen.
So just remember that motherhood is powerful, and
Oh
we all
yes.
have a
It is.
responsibility to ensure that we nurture, guide, and care for our children. Until next week, thank you all for tuning in on Facebook and also on YouTube. Until next week, please join in and listen again to another powerful topic with other guests who will be coming to share their stories. Thank you, Shanea. Thank you, Kerry-Ann, and God bless
Welcome.
you.
God
Bye.
bless you. Bye.
Always. Bye bye.